What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and another video here. Today we're going over the brand new patch for Apex Legends. I'm going to be reading all the patch notes. Try to get this cord around the left side of my body. It might not stay there, but we'll do our best either way. If you guys are excited about the new event, the old trials, you're going to see gameplay of it right now. And I did want to start off by saying this video is sponsored by EA. Thank you so much. We've been partnering over the course of the Season 4, and there's so many good things on the horizon. But I want to say thanks for all the support and thanks for the sponsorship as well. Now, today, I want to just get off a couple things as far as my thoughts on these patch notes, because there's a couple things that are great, a couple things that are unexpected, and a couple things that I'm a little worried about. And I have to talk to you guys about how I legitimately have been caught off by surprise, how some of these things have really affected just the way I've been able to get the content to you today. And I know we do feel like we need to bring Brain Day out for this, but I'm going to leave the glasses over to the side for now. We're just going to talk candidly about these patch notes and what is unfolding. Let's get to reading them. So without further ado, you guys can see the new mode and the new area trials. It's right near Skyhook. You can see the fighting that goes down here. Just a couple quick tips before we get into it. It's pretty quick and frenetic. You're going to die most of the time if you go straight down. Teams will land behind you and pick up some bins and then come in. There's not really a lot of armor in this area, but there are some cool things and some good weapons. But one of the things I found success in is landing outside, trying to get some armor on the bins, maybe coming in a little later than being the first team alive. It's pretty chaotic, and if you're the first one in, being the last one out, it's one of the hardest things I've tried to do. Okay, so it's going to be a fun mode, though. There's some secrets as well, and you'll see a hint of where the secret is in this video. I might do a whole video for that, and I'm sure some other people have done videos on that as well as of now. But okay, good stuff for Bloodhound. That interests. Let's talk about the patch notes. They're going to come up right now, and it is about duos and map rotation. So, starting on April 7th, I'll just read it candidly and we can get into it. Duos will be added to the game alongside trios, as well as a permanent map rotation that gives players the abilities to play duos or trios on Kings Canyon and World's Edge. Now, of course, I forgot to say this, but if you're enjoying this kind of content video, please leave a like. It does help it out. Since the launch of Apex Legends, we've introduced duos a few times as a limited time mode. That's true, we've had duos quite a bit, and overall it's had a positive effect on the game's health in regards to queue times and gameplay systems, in addition to reinforcing team play, something that it's paramount to every design decision we make for Apex Legends, which is really key to probably why they don't have a lot of solos. Team play is such a key part of how they've designed this game from the ground up, and keep wanting to support it. The big thing, though, is that there's more to follow, and there are more changes that ended up having quite a big impact as well. Let's keep reading. Also, buffs to some big things like Revenant and Lifeline, and some changes to some weapons like the sniper category of weapons, the Evo shields as well. We'll talk about all that, especially the Scouts and the L-Star in a little bit, so stay tuned for all that stuff that we'll get into in these notes. Okay, so with the 4.2 update, we're excited to be adding it as a permanent mode alongside trios. Duos will not be available in ranked, so there is no ranked duos mode. Now, what about solos? When we introduced solos as a limited time mode last year, we saw it actually negatively impacted the game, especially when it came to new player retention. God, didn't I say that? Didn't I try to explain that to you guys? Listen, you might get a heads up. I've been in the process of working behind the scenes with devs who have implemented and made from the ground up a battle royale and implemented squads, then trios, duos, and then solos. I know exactly what happens. People do not stay and play in solos. I don't know why we think we like solos as human beings, but we don't. We do not play games when they are solo-based as much as we play when they are team-based. When it's a game that's usually built to be a team-based game. That's just the fact of the matter that we've seen again and again. Let's get back into this as well. I had to just get that off my chest. We've also purposefully designed Legends and their abilities to complement team play and squad composition. But when played solo, some Legends abilities become completely useless. Like when you compare the idea of trying to heal a team and really revive a teammate, like Lifeline Shield, when she gets to revive, her whole passive is useless because you're not reviving anyone. You know what I mean? That's like such a huge component of a character. To not have that available, it really doesn't look good for them to highlight that mode, and one of the reasons it could be leading to not a lot of retention. Those are just some of the reasons they decided not to include solos in today's update. They're still looking at ways to explore a solo experience, but for now, grab a friend and jump into the arena. Continuing on, we know players want to experience a map variety when playing Apex Legends, and this is where I got surprised, and I am a little concerned. I want to talk about it, and it's still verdict's out, so I'm still going to spend this week checking it out, but this is where most of my thoughts have gone today. We know players want to experience map variety when playing Apex Legends, so the 4.2 update will introduce map rotation. That will include the current version of World's Edge, Kings Canyon Season 2, and Kings Canyon After Dark. Ranked play will remain on the map dedicated to where we are in the current series, which is currently Kings Canyon. We want to keep queue times as short as possible, which is why we decided to go with rotation versus selection, as we believe selection could have a very negative impact on queue times across the world. We'll be keeping the maps on a very quick rotation and tweaking it as we study the data and listen to your feedback. We'll also be introducing other versions of previously released Kings Canyon and World's Edge maps into the rotation from time to time to keep it fresh. Now here is where I like the decision. When I said last time when they talked about this, they were putting Kings Canyon, World's Edge, duos, and trios, I thought, how are you going to do this with the player base? The player base, sometimes it's a little slower to get a queue right now, and everyone's playing on the same map. No other mode of duos or trios. What happens if you had 2 map options and then 2 player options? Like, that's splitting it 4 ways. That is, I was surprised they had that many players, and it turns out that it was as I thought. They would not have the ability to really have a great matchmaking system as that, because if you're familiar with matchmaking, the more players you have to pick from to make the most balanced lobbies on high to low medium scale players, the better of an actual reality that lobby can become. When you have a scarcity of players, games get sweaty. They don't end up fun. The matchmaking gets bad. You get put with people you're like, why is this bronze in with this Predator lobby? You know what I mean? That's what ends up happening when you don't have enough people in the queue. So I was really worried, and I woke up today to record this content. I wanted to record the new Trials mode, and guess what? I had 30 minutes to do it before 2 hours of taking a break. I mean, this is a huge day of gaming, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And the fact that I could only get on for 30 minutes and play the brand new mode they released today with a new thing to show it off, like, I didn't get the footage I needed. So I had to wait 2 hours and then end up making it on the 3rd hour. And now it's pushed my video back from the morning to 8 hours. I mean, there's significant impact of that. And what I'm looking at is, as a content creator, this is obviously not ideal, because you'd obviously love to be able to choose where you're going. As a gamer, as a player, I can get into it. I can wrap my mind around it, like, oh, you know, I'm playing what's showing up, and I'll have fun in each of those moments. But there's been concerns on both sides of, like, if I'm a new player and I don't like Kings Canyon, I never played during Kings Canyon. Nobody that I know of ever cares about Kings Canyon. It's just the old school players who really want it. Why do I have to spend 1 hour out of every 3? The other concern is, that's like a lot of switching. I don't know. Maybe the average retention time for someone who plays the game is an hour. But this is something that slightly concerns me. I like the idea of giving people Kings Canyon, but if it is going to split your player base, I think it's better to bring it back as something that ends up being a limited time mode or in a special situation. I just don't feel that with how good World's Edge is, I feel it's a little going backward. That's personally my opinion, and I think it's very hard to please everybody with this, especially when you have a brand new mode that drops on any of those maps. Say you get a new Kings Canyon thing, and then you got to spend 2 hours on World's Edge and Kings Canyon After Dark before you can play it. I mean, new players don't want to do that. If they're logging in for the first time to play this mode and to play this, and they have 30 minutes like I used to do when I was a gamer, 30 minutes before soccer practice, I don't have time to wait 2 hours for the queue to go to the map that I want. I think this thought process missed on the user experience side, but it didn't mean that it missed as far as trying to make everybody happy. A lot of people ask for all these things, but sometimes you have to make compromises, and this is the best way they saw to do it. I just would look at saying, this is something I would be very happy if it was reverted. I would also be very happy if maybe I just get used to it and it ends up working out, or I just don't know. But guys, comment down below. This is where I'm at with this. I really don't know, but I wanted to give honest feedback on that because I saw it myself. I think it's just going to come up eventually, and I think, especially when you drop new things, people want to spend the day on the new stuff. You know, we don't want to rotate that day. Maybe you leave it for a day. Maybe you lock things for, you know, a certain period of time and give people that window to really experience it versus not. And, yeah, just something to say. Maybe dedicated days throughout the week or certain maps. Anyways, let's talk about the mode because this is the mode. I did get a chance to play it. The gameplay is kind of cool, but it's okay. It's really all that I could get in the time before it switched back to Kings Canyon. and I had another couple of hours, but it introduces the Bloodhound Trials. In this area, like I said, there's a little Easter egg. I'll maybe show that in another video, but it's probably out there already. You would land down and immediately Prowlers attack you. I believe they have 100 health, and they do some serious melee damage as well, and will chase you down. It's a crazy start. Do it just for fun. I really like this new mode, and it's definitely something that is going to help, especially if you just want a change of pace and you want another chaotic spot to land. If you're a capital city nerd, a sorting factory fiend, if you want all those things, definitely go ahead and check that out. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully designed also, near a great area of the map that we don't often go to unless you're, dropping Skyhook. Okay, let's talk balance, because this is really where I think things get interesting. G7 Scout has been a reduction to the headshot scaling from 2 to 1.75, a reduction in leg shot scaling from 0.9 to 0.75, and a slightly reduced projectile speed. This is very similar to some of the other changes with a projectile speed. That's been nerfed twice on the G7 Scout, but the good thing is the damage in general isn't going down except for those specific damage numbers on the headshot. It is very, very effective, but it's getting into that little wiggle room area where they feel this gun specifically is probably overperforming, probably at a competitive level and probably at a casual level, and they're just tweaking something that they feel could help bring it into line in those areas. I'm sure for a majority, I'm sure for a lot of players this is fine, and it won't really impact the way your gameplay feels or ends up having that kill potential. But it'll mean you get maybe 51 or something like that on your headshots instead of 54, which could be the difference between a kill or not. It's true. It definitely could be if that person's like a Caustic or a Gibraltar. The L-Star has seen a bit of a reset to its view kick when you are getting into that horizontal recoil pattern. This is to allow it to be a little bit more predictable in its feeling and the way that it looks after you're feathering the trigger. It's also going to reset earlier as far as overheating. So it will take 23 shots to overheat instead of the 25 it previously took. I think it's just helping the L-Star get a little bit of a balance. It's going to be probably a change that makes it feel good more so than really change the way the weapon is as far as being used or if it's OP. But check it out for yourself. Let me know. It felt fine today. I tried it out today. The Kraber has got increased headshot damage multiplier from 2.05 to 3. And what does this mean to you? It basically just means any target will be down with a Kraber headshot now. Whether it is a Gibraltar with a level 3 helmet and a full Evo shield, they will get down with a headshot, and you just basically guaranteed that. And it's not changing the actual body damage because it's just the headshot multiplier. The same thing they did with the G7 Scout. It's a smart way to get a quality of life fix without really impacting the strategic nature of the gun, because no matter what, you're still going to headshot somebody and down them with a Kraber, and now it's just applying to everybody. Sniper ammo has been reduced. The ammo per pickup is now 8 instead of 10, and it's also in inventory stacks being reduced from 20 to 16. So still 2 stacks will give you obviously that 16 full stack of sniper ammo in your inventory, but it's just going to be less shots. For weapons like the charge rifle, which takes 4 per each shot, that means you'll have 4 magazines that you can go through while using that charge rifle, and potentially 5 if you have a fully reloaded one and then you fully stock on your sniper ammo. So that should be fine, and it will honestly be plenty with the way the meta is being played, especially if you're on World's Edge. That hour, or that 30 minutes, or that 15 minutes, then you go to Kings Canyon and it'll be irrelevant. But then, 2 hours later, it'll be back on Worlds. I'm just kidding. Guys, you got to let me know what you think about this one in the comment section below. Honestly, super surprised. I really thought I was going to have a choice. All right, there's still more, though. There's still more. I'm recovering. You can see I'm recovering. Low profile. Limb shots on low profile legends now deal as much damage as body shots. This is good in some ways, but this is also just a change that we'll have to see how it feels and how it has an impact. Low-profile legends are really just legends that they feel have a little bit of an advantage hitbox-wise and potentially throughout their character design, and so they just add this to kind of balance them out. And this is so going to make it so that you basically do a little bit more damage consistently to them. Not more damage than you should have. It's just more damage consistently across all parts of the body. And if you didn't know that, leg shots are usually less damage than body shots. It's divided in Apex Legends. That's something you might be noting. All right, so Revenant. Let's talk about the huge buffs to Revenant. There are absolutely massive buffs. You've probably seen a ton of it in this footage right now as we are getting to the cool stuff of this, the legend changes. The silence has been increased from 10 seconds to 20 seconds of a duration. That is nuts. Also, the silence now disables Gibraltar's gun shield, which usually it had no impact on. They also increase the duration of effect from when you throw the silence and how long it lasts in that area from 5 to 10 seconds. And the silence has 2 charges, so you can use it back to back, 20 seconds to recharge each charge, 40 seconds if you throw them right back and back before you get your fully 2 charge stacks again. The Death Totem also now will respawn you back with 50 health, which is huge because one of my biggest things was you use your ultimate to be offensive, you get aggressive, you die, and now if you fight after that, you are at a significant disadvantage. So having 50 health means you're only losing 50 off that trade, and you can still be aggressive with 100 health. I really, really do like this one, and I think this is going to help Revenant become a lot more viable as well. The silence lasting for 20 seconds is oppressive, and I think this is going to open up people playing Revenant a little bit more. I'm excited for that in the pro scene, especially if you guys follow that in the ALGS as well. They also remove low profile from him, which is good, thank God, after those changes to it. Lifeline also now has a secondary passive, which means Lifeline can access these secret compartments with more loot on them. There'll be blue bins. You will open them. She can open them, but she can also open a second compartment, which will always contain some mixture of health items, weapon attachments, and knockdown shields. It's super cool, and you'll see them throughout the map. Play Lifeline and check it out. Maybe exactly what she needs to come back into the meta. The Wraith will also have her portals disappear after 4 seconds if both of them are in the ring. That's just to avoid them essentially being used as a way to avoid taking damage in those final circles and kind of game the system out essentially to win and stay alive longer. Evo armor also has a huge change. It now takes, I believe, 625 damage to level up to level 4 instead of the 1,000 that it took. So it's nearly half as easy to do. Make sure to check that out, guys, because that is a big change to the Evo Shield. You'll be able to upgrade yours a lot faster than you might have thought. There's a lot of bug fixes as well, and the big thing, they've increased the loot in Kings Canyon and Kings Canyon After Dark. I gotta hear your thoughts right now, though, not After Dark. I want to know exactly what you think about these patch notes. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe to the channel for more Rain Day Gaming, and as always, never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see you all next time.